Persone che fanno cose completamente diverse, completamente estreme, che sono disposti a andare agli estremi proprio per mettere alla prova se stessi, diversamente da tutti quanti gli altri. Eppure il pubblico riesce a scoprire in queste persone poi delle cose che invece per altri aspetti sono molto simili. Queste persone hanno dell'uomo comune molti elementi, molte caratteristiche, e poi per molte altre cose invece sono molto diversi dall'uomo della strada.
Possiamo cominciare con le altre domande.
Una domanda per Chris e una domanda per Ron. Prima Ron, io ho visto che in tutti i tuoi film aleggia comunque sempre il tema della morte, preso da un punto di vista diciamo positivo, non negativo. E anche in questo film il problema che spesso ci sono certi piloti è questo aleggiare della possibilità di poter morire. Allora io volevo chiederti che rapporto hai tu in tutti i tuoi film con questo tema?
Death is one of the defining qualities of any human being, and one of the mysteries, because different people cope with that possibility in various ways, and it's always fascinating to me. I thought both of these characters had a very interesting perspective on death, as probably any Formula One driver, particularly in the 70s, must have had. But I thought that Lauda's in particular was so fascinating. I was going to ask Daniel to talk about this because it's something that I think is so essential to the movie, because there's an element of surprise.
This relationship with Marlene, played by Alexandra Maria Lara, where you understand, okay, I won't go further now. It's stupid because I'm risking not only my own life. But
calcolato che la probabilità di morte era del 20%, quindi in un certo senso era un po' un pioniere, se vogliamo, era più simile ai piloti di Formula 1 di oggi. E ovviamente lui sapeva che guidando una macchina di Formula 1 metteva a rischio, a repentaglio la sua vita, però lui aveva anche una sorta di percezione, sentiva se la situazione era quella giusta, era pronto a correre, altrimenti se non la riteneva giusta non voleva, si rifiutava di correre.
A far more visceral, gut instinct, intuitive approach, and that also was consistent right through his life. I think if he felt something and there was a desire or a need to do something, he would do it. From a very physical standpoint. There were, which led into the extremes, you're asking about, I think. And also that what these guys did, they lived with this threat of death, and Nicky would calculate that fear. James would try and avoid it, and I think by indulging in other activities, whether that was drinking or the women or whatever. But a lot of those guys, I think, they had to find an outlet to it, for that fear.
Via Skype mentre lei era in cucina a pelare le cipolle.
The very first time we spoke about Marlene Lauda, we met on Skype. And then when you once are connected with someone on Skype, then you are on the list, obviously. And one time, my husband and I were trying to cook, and I was cutting an onion and crying, and in that moment Ron called. I can't remember, he wanted to ask me something about Marlene. I can't remember anymore. I was hesitant, I didn't know if to answer the Skype call with tears cutting the onions, looking very bad at that moment. Yeah, but it was very nice to meet Ron on Skype, yeah.
I just met this friend.
He was the first time we actually spoke. Ron was in America, I was in Berlin, and it's a nice moment, put makeup on, I tried to impress him via Skype. I really, really wanted to play Marlene Lauda, so I was glad when it worked out.
Unique, fascinating characters, and an exciting world that they inhabited. That's the first part.
Uno già prima, oppure leggendo la sceneggiatura si sono dovuti confrontare con qualcosa di sconosciuto e quindi fare ricerche sullo sport, le regole, i più famosi protagonisti di questo sport.
And I never made a conscious decision as a kid not to be a fan. It just wasn't in my circle, you know, where I grew up. My dad used to race motorbikes, and so that was the kind of, I guess, the parallel world I could sort of draw from, or was slightly familiar.
I was a kid. I already knew who Niki Lauda was, and of course I was interested in that sport. And then Michael Schumacher was from there, who you might know, yeah, I was a fan. And then when it was with Michael Schumacher, when he started to win every season, I got a bit bored, and then I was more into soccer and tennis. And then I got interested in that sport again after watching the great documentary about Senna. And then, yeah, funnily, a couple of months later, after seeing it, I was sent that script, and so I was totally fascinated by it.
Regazzoni è una figura chiave nella vita di Niki Lauda perché è il pilota che lo ha portato di fatto alla Ferrari. E pensava di vincere in realtà lui, Regazzoni, ci andò vicino nel 74, poi Lauda vinse nel 75 e poi è successo tutto quello che è raccontato nel film. Regazzoni Favino si sente più vicino alla figura di James Hunt o del suo ex compagno di squadra Niki Lauda?
Come attitudine. Insomma, non era propriamente il pilota moderno e disciplinato che poi...
Alexandra, then Chris, just, discovering Chris through this fantastic audition. But when I thought about Clay Regazzoni, I only thought of one person, and yet, it wasn't the star of the movie, but to me, a very important part. And I was so flattered when Per Francesco agreed to be our Clay Regazzoni, and he brought, believe me, there was much more in the movie than there was in the script because of his creativity and talent, and it was a pleasure to work with Per Francesco again.